Hello everyone and welcome to the next session of Core Java. In continuation with multithreading, in this session we will discuss about the concept of synchronization in threads. So first of all, let's understand what is synchronization. First of all, let's discuss about one condition. Say for example, there is one resource and multiple threads are trying to access that particular resource. So one resource being accessed by multiple threads at the same time. What will happen in this scenario? So whenever multiple threads are trying to access a particular resource, due to their asynchronous behavior, every thread will try to access that particular resource. This is termed as a race condition. What is race condition? Because every thread is trying to access and utilize that particular resource. So there is no sync in execution of the threads. So if I want to include, or if I want all these threads which are by default behaving in asynchronous way to follow the behavior in the manner of synchronization, the behavior on accessing that particular resource in synchronous way, this process is called as synchronization. So only one thread will access the resource at a certain point. When that thread is completed with its usage of the resource, then only another thread will be allowed to utilize that particular resource. So let's understand this. First, the race condition and what happens whenever synchronization is not there, and then what is and how to implement synchronization. So first of all, I'm creating that particular resource which will be shared by multiple threads at the same time. So what I have in this particular resource is I have a method, say print message, and this method is accepting one string variable. First, it is printing a square bracket, then the message whichever we have passed to this particular method. Then this method goes into the sleep mode. Sleep method is the static method of thread class which drives the thread into sleep mode. This method throws an exception, which is interrupted exception, which we will handle. And after this, it will print this closing square bracket. So this is my thread. This is my resource. Now let's create a thread which is going to utilize this particular resource. So I'm creating a resource thread. This resource thread, I will extend it from the thread class. Now this resource thread will give call to this print message method. So this print message method call will be part of business logic of this particular thread, which is nothing but the logic of run method. Now, whenever this resource thread needs to call the method from resource class, we will need two things. One is a variable of type resource, and another is a string variable which will be passed to that particular method. So I'm creating a constructor where I have initialization of these data members. So string msg. So this dot resource equal to So this dot resource equal to resource, this dot msg equal to msg, and in run method I'm going to give call to this particular method. So resource dot print message, and I'm passing this msg variable. So I have created a thread, and now we are going to create the application which will be main application. So resource main, which will have main method. Now we will create multiple threads of this resource thread type. So what we are going to do over here is, first of all, as this resource thread requires a variable of type resource, and here we need to have resource sharing, multiple threads accessing same resource, we will pass same resource object to all the thread objects. So I am creating object of type resource thread. I'm passing a message which is a string as hello, then new resource thread, again the same resource object, because here we want to have same resource to be utilized by multiple threads. So, and the third object of resource thread, say multi-thread. So these are three resources or three threads, we will say, which are trying to access this same resource. And once I will execute this particular program, we are going to get certain output. So this is the way how we have created three, and all these three threads are using the same resource, and we are providing this message. Now, as we have created the threads, we need to start the threads. So we will call start method on each of this thread. So dot start. And now you can see whenever we will execute this particular code, it is printing something like this. Square bracket, opening square bracket, message, and it is printing this output in asynchronous way. Now what output I am expecting over here is, whenever this print message method is being invoked, it should print opening square bracket, then the string which we have passed, then it should go for sleep mode for 2 seconds, and then closing square bracket. Here I am okay with spending this much time, because in general what is the behavior of processor is, when one thread is going for sleep, another thread will start its execution. However, here my requirement is, even if that thread execution takes time, I am ready to wait for that much time. So let's now see how we can do that. So this can be achieved through a keyword named as synchronized. So this method, this resource will be synchronized, and then we will see what is the output. So you can see that after the current thread is gone into the sleep mode, no other thread has started or tried to access that particular resource. So this is nothing but synchronization. Three threads accessing same resource, but when one thread is accessing the resource, what it does is it puts a lock on this particular resource. So this method will be locked. Thread will utilize this particular method. Once the thread is done with the utilization of the method, that lock will be released, and then another thread is allowed to access that particular resource. So this is how synchronization is implemented, and we can see that this asynchronously behaving application is now behaving in synchronous way. So this is all about synchronization. Thank you.